Let's talk about the nature of reality. I'm learning all this from Crash Course, by the way. I'm taking myself through courses every day and trying to chew on the ideas and make something of them. So the nature of reality, we're just going to talk about Plato's allegorical cave. And the whole idea behind the cave is, or Plato's cave is like this. Really quick version. 3 dudes in a cave. They're prisoners. They're tied up. They're facing one direction. On the direction are shadows cast from a light that's eking through the cave. Just a little bit of light is creating shadows from what's happening outside of the cave. The prisoners can see the shadows, and from the shadows they try and determine what the nature of reality is. And they come up with some kind of semblance of what could be and couldn't be real. One of the prisoners escapes. He leaves the cave. For the first time, he sees sunshine, he sees flowers, he sees bees, he sees, segways or whatever. And he realizes that what he had previously thought to be true was completely wrong. There was just so much more to the truth than he ever could have acknowledged if he hadn't seen this, which is so beautiful, because that is the reason that we should all be uncertain about our beliefs and be willing to flex and imbibe new information, even if it threatens our identity a little bit, which is why we should hold on to a loose identity in general. But anyways, he comes back into the cave, right? And he's in the cave and he's talking to his prisoner friends, and he says, "You guys, holy shit, this is not real. These shadows, that's not what reality is. There's so much more out there. This is such a small fraction. There's so many more things to see." But his friends look at him and they say, "What the hell are you talking about, man? You sound crazy right now. You sound like you've gone, you sound insane." So because of that, because he's kind of peered into another layer, he's now become ostracized or isolated, which is an interesting way to think about it, because I think a lot of people that think they've stumbled on some truth will often use their isolation as a form of thinking they're special in some way, which is, I think, how conspiracy theorists stay in their conspiracies and stay motivated to believe stupid shit. But I digress. So some more down-to-earth examples of this would be like a teddy bear. When you're young, you think that's what a bear is. You think a bear is cuddly and it has buttons for eyes and it's soft and all this stuff. And then you go to the zoo for the first time and you think, holy shit, bears are not cuddly. Bears do not have buttons for eyes, and they're scary. They're not pleasant. Or like when you're young and you discover rock music or like if you were me, when I discovered Eminem and realized that there was a whole other world of cuss words and imagery and hypersexualized language. And when I'd be mowing the lawn, I'd be listening to the Eminem show, thinking that I was peeking into some great truth about life, and it just threw me for a loop. Eminem just destroyed my current reality and at that time. So this is all to say that, at least in my own life, the allegory of the cave and the implications that it has on you as an individual is this idea that peering through, imbibing information, learning more, using reason, understanding that there are more layers than you could know, and that's a good thing, that refining your understanding of the world is how you achieve, the greatest amount of, I guess you could say, I don't want to say power, but the greatest amount of I don't know how to describe it, but it's a good thing. I know it's a good thing that the more that you get through this, the more you can contribute back to the human conversation. And I think that this idea of protecting ourselves from outside information is a way of protecting our identity that is ultimately detrimental to us as people. Which is why, if you believe something, you should start taking on the other side just to see what they have to say. I have a cousin that is really, 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 really Christian. And she struggles with a lot of things because she's ostracized for her belief. And I think that's stupid. I think that people should, in the privacy of their lives, have permission to believe anything that they want. The world is difficult and tragic and sad. And we have to have things that make sense to us to kind of ground us. And if somebody has a God to do that, and it's rooted in a at least a noble cause, well, I think that's beautiful, as long as they're not trying to force me to take on their belief system, because that becomes tyrannical really quickly. Anyways, I digress. I just encourage you, I encourage myself because I make these videos for me, but I encourage you, if you stumble onto this, to question yourself and be uncertain about your beliefs, because it's ultimately in your best interest to do so. You know, your ego wants you to be certain. Your ego wants you to think that you're as competent as you could possibly be, because it's a very humbling and kind of borderline inadequate place to be if you are the dumbest guy in the room. But really, that's the most powerful place that you can be. And the more that you peer through different levels of reality, the more that you get access to this bounty of experience, this more complex and beautiful way of looking at the world. And I encourage you to use that in service of your own life. Pardon me. And I'll talk to you later.